Well, I am here with an amazing guest, Dr. Felicia Scaringi. Scaringi.
Yeah.
I got to get that
Scaringi.
right. Her dad would just hurt me for that one. But she is a naturopathic doctor from Canada in Niagara Falls, in Ottawa. So we actually met at a seminar in Las Vegas. That's how we crossed paths. But I'm really excited to have her on the show to talk about, her schooling, how healthcare might be different in Canada. But her focus is on sports medicine. She was a varsity athlete playing soccer. She works out. She's super fit. So a lot of her practice is around sports medicine. But also interesting, we were just chatting before we went live here about facial acupuncture. So we can talk about that. She also, one of her mentors was an Olympian. So that's super cool, but she focuses on women's health and also the mental side of just health and life, which, a lot of life is a mental game. So I'm excited to talk to her about that. But Dr. Felicia, welcome to the Dr. Tony Rhodes podcast. It's great to have you.
Hi, Dr. Tony. I'm so excited to be here. I can't wait to chat with you, chat with all your listeners and kind of just dive right into it. So again, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the first virtual podcast. So, we got it. Two doctors. We 5-10 minutes, we got it down. So
we got there somehow, some way.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to talk to you. And one of our chiropractors, Dr. Ben DePass, he knows two of your good friends.
Yeah.
And it was a chiropractic conference and you just snuck in there. You just wanted to see Gary Vaynerchuk and all these amazing speakers. But no, I'm kidding. It was really good. That was an awesome conference, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. You throw in Dr. Andrew Huberman, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon in a room. Sign me up. I'm there. Right. It was even what was so great about that conference, and shout out to Parker Conferences, is the fact that it wasn't just meant for chiropractors. Like me, a naturopathic doctor coming from, Ontario, Canada, can learn so much even at just this secluded but very big chiropractic conference. And I was able to walk away and be like, wow, I took in a lot from that.
Yeah, there was a lot of value for naturopathic doctors there too.
And there was actually a naturopath there who spoke, like one of the speakers.
Right.
One of the classes I went to, he introduced himself and he actually went to my school in Toronto. Yeah.
Crazy.
How cool is that?
Yeah. Small world. So you went through your education up there in Canada from undergraduate to graduate. So before we get into the nitty gritty, like what inspired you? How did you get to be where you're at now with being a naturopathic doctor?
Yeah, it's a big question. It's a loaded question. But I guess to kind of answer that question, I think, every naturopath you ask, they always have a story. And I think this is what makes us so powerful and so connected and so passionate about it. And I guess in short, my story really is about, like you said, I'm an athlete. I've been an athlete my whole life. So, training, having optimal performance and optimal health was always it was part of who I was. It wasn't even something that was put on me as an athlete. It was just something that I kind of took and ran with. But sometimes when you're a female and you're in female sport, sometimes in that effort of always being so good at sport, we sometimes get a little hard on ourselves when it comes to body image, when it comes to food. And I struggled a little bit with that relationship with food and myself. And it became so much that I stopped thinking about the sport and I was thinking too much about the food.
Wow.
And I think in order for me to love the sport again, I had to love food again.
Wow.
And I think in doing that and learning to love food again, I needed to learn what was food giving me rather than taking away from me. What was the value of food? And I slowly started to learn the value of food and how it had medicine to it. And then I went down this beautiful rabbit hole of, naturopathic medicine and learning that food has so many medicinal benefits and from there, it was kind of this match that I couldn't avoid. I always wanted to
Mhm.
be a conventional doctor, but then when I realized I had this passion for food and for growth
Mhm.
through food and through herbs, I couldn't deny it. I wrote
Yeah.
my MCAT, I did all the things, and that connection just, it wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I found naturopathic
That's awesome.
medicine, and from there, here I am. And now food
Yeah.
is not only a fuel for me, but it's my medicine.
That's awesome. I mean, I talk about that a lot in the podcast too. I just had a patient I was talking to that has RA. She's having some
Mhm.
skin issues and weight issues and all this stuff and joint issues, obviously. And I'm like, hey, I think you can dramatically change your body composition with food. I
Mhm.
mean, I've been eating the carnivore diet. No, it's kind of an extreme keto way of eating, but I'm like, hey, lots of people with autoimmune conditions really transform their bodies. And she's just having a hard time being on a bunch of different medications that aren't
Yeah.
working. And so, yeah, I totally agree with that. But it's
Yes.
easy to look for that quick fix, in our
Oh, yeah.
society, you know?
Oh, for sure. We're so accustomed to instant gratification and, like you said, that quick fix. But then,
Mhm.
like going to your RA patient, then they're sitting there stuck with a laundry list of pharmaceuticals,
Yeah.
which might work for a little bit, but then there's always that additional side effect, or
Mhm.
there's always that missing piece. And I think you
Yeah.
gave her a great recommendation by saying,
Yeah.
go to food, see how we can change that, because there's
Yeah.
great evidence on anti-inflammatory diet and RA.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, maybe we can dig in a little bit more into that. But yeah, that's a interesting journey you had. And I know a lot of, female athletes struggle with, food and weight and all that. I mean, I didn't really realize that could happen in like sports like soccer. I usually hear about it. Like my wife's Canadian too, a lot of figure
Mhm.
skating stuff. And so they're have to
Yeah.
be at a certain weight and image. And I know
Yeah.
food's a big deal and it creates a weird relationship with food. But I mean, can happen with like any sport really.
Yep.
And
Yep.
yeah.
Actually, I was a figure skater, so
Oh, that
you
too.
read me well. You read me
Okay.
well.
All right.
Yeah, I was a figure skater for about, oh God, 14 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so I think when you kind of, like you said, when you're in that world and you're wearing things like these, tight figure skating dresses, and it's like, oh, the smaller the better, the more elegant your jumps will look. And then
Hmm.
I also did track and field,
Oh,
which
okay.
that as well, again, the stronger the muscle, the leaner the muscle, the faster
Hmm.
you are, and this, that, and the other. And then all of a sudden here you are, like a 14, 15-year-old girl, and you're like, okay, so
Yeah.
food is the enemy.
Yeah.
And that is a huge relationship. You see it
Yeah.
in all age groups. And
Uh-huh.
when that relationship can be restored, then you really see the true magic in medicine
Yeah.
that's in food.
Yeah. That's a tough battle when you're in that fight. So let's talk about to now where you're at with your practice. So you have a focus on sports medicine.
Mhm.
Obviously, you did an internship as well. But what would you say are some of the most common performance or recovery issues that you see with the athletes that you work with?
Mhm. Great question. You can go so many different directions. But honestly, I want to take it like two ways to answer this. You see a lot of the time nervous system dysregulation in athletes. And I say that as being one of the biggest issues you see in athletes, because they are go, 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 go. Some of them
Hmm.
are, like, for example, my cousin, he's a wrestler for Team Canada trying to go for the
Oh, wow.
2028 Olympics. And
Dang.
he's training 3 times a day. And he's been doing that for years. He's 27, well, turning 27, and
Okay.
he's been doing 3 a day workouts,
Wow.
like for probably 10 years.
Hmm.
And, you get, 10 years down the road, and the nervous system shot,
Hmm.
the gut, your microbiome goes shot. And then it becomes difficult to recover and rehab and get back to that optimal performance.
Hmm.
So I guess really you see this mismatch between training and fueling.
Hmm.
And I find many athletes sometimes they're like, hey, doc, I got to overtrain. I don't know what to tell you. I got to go to
Yeah.
practice. But
Uh-huh.
then it's like they're coming out undernourished. And then as a result, they're waking up with more pain, more injury. So
Yeah.
I think the biggest things I try to focus on is making sure the hormones are balanced. How is the
Okay.
sleep quality? Are there any inflammatory conditions like tendonitis is very common? And then, like I said, going to that gut dysfunction. So recovery these ice baths and sauna is so great, but
Mhm.
there's also the cellular repair, the
Yeah.
mental recalibration, and most importantly, aligning the system from a nervous system perspective.
That's awesome. So, as a naturopathic doctor in Canada, you can order blood tests, or do you refer out for
Mhm.
that, or you do that in-house?
Yeah, so super awesome. In Ontario, we are able to actually get you requisitions for blood work. Unfortunately, like we can't submit it to OHIP, but a lot of times because we can bill to insurance, a
Mhm.
lot of insurance plans do cover the requisition. If not, you do have to pay out of pocket. But again, with that being said, I can run anything that's needed, anything that's necessary, and I'm always happy to do so for my patients.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you mostly hear about hormones,
Mm,
let's say athletes, but we generally think of females that might need it balanced, but a lot of men might
for
need
sure.
their hormones checked. I know we've had, even some of our staff guys go check their testosterone. It's super low and they get it boosted up and they're like, wow, I feel amazing now. And
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my
you work
God.
with men too.
Yes, I do. I
Yeah.
I, I grew up with three brothers, so
Okay.
I'm no stranger to trying to work with a stubborn man,
Yeah.
uh, but I no I when I came out of school, a lot of the girls, they want to work with fertility. Not that is so awesome. I will
Uh-huh.
always refer out to them, but I love working with both females and males because I love understanding it all. And I
Mhm.
found working with athletes, you have a lot of men that are interested in understanding how do I, enhance my peak performance. And they're finding a lot of times that they're not recovering quick enough. And a
Mhm.
lot of that can be related to lower testosterone. And there's some
That's true.
amazing herbs that you can turn to that can help with that.
So even natural ways to boost testosterone.
Yeah,
What's
for sure.
maybe one?
I mean, a lot of ones I know this is a buzzword for a lot of people,
Uh-huh.
but a lot of people will go to like, oh, is ashwagandha? And yeah, like ashwagandha
Mhm.
has some research. There's other
Mhm.
ones like fenugreek and even actually looking at different hormonal ones that might be more for what would sound like for women, but there's a
Mhm.
different ones that working with estrogen and actually helping the man get rid of the dirty estrogen, so to
Okay.
speak, or this like excess of estrogen. So looking at things like calcium D-glutarate is really helpful.
Mhm.
Broccoli extract. So stuff like that I always recommend for men.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And you alluded to this next question a little bit, but how do you integrate like nutrition, performance nutrition in, let's say weekend warriors, but high level athletes? And what are maybe some underrated tips? Do you go through macros with them? Do you put them on a certain diet? How do you specifically work with their nutrition and
Yeah.
optimize it?
Great question. I love this question because it is not a cookie cutter answer. It can't be a cookie cutter answer for your
Uh-huh.
patients. The greatest thing about naturopathic medicine is it's very individualized. So when it comes to performance nutrition, it's not just about macros. Sometimes I will give a specific plan and I
Okay.
will go, okay, let's do this amount of calories, this amount of protein, this amount of fats, the rest
Mhm.
being your carbs. But the biggest thing I talk about, and I would say this is one of my tips, is it's not like I said, just about the macros. It's about timing. It's about, are you absorbing those foods? So
Mhm.
this is where I always prioritize blood sugar stability, gut integrity, and basically that circadian aligned eating. So
Okay.
again, by that I basically mean is I always look at my patients and say, okay, are we getting in enough protein? Are we
Mhm.
getting in enough fiber? And with that being said, are we timing those protein and that fiber correctly? Because
I
a lot
see.
of time, like, your typical athlete, and again, especially with soccer, it was like, okay, big bowl of pasta the night before or a
Yeah.
couple hours before, and then let's go to the game. But a lot of times, if you're having that big burst of carbohydrates, right, you're going to find your blood sugar spikes. And then what happens after a blood sugar spike is a
Yeah.
blood sugar crash. What
Huh.
pairs with a blood sugar crash is fatigue.
Hmm.
Now, like, for example, I played soccer last night. If I had that huge bowl of pasta a couple hours before, there's a good chance by 7 o'clock, I'm crashing. I'm exhausted. But I want to go in with my cortisol peaking, my energy high. So how do I do that? And what do I tell my patients and my athletes is what you want to do is you want to pair your carbohydrates first, your protein, and then your fiber, or together fiber and protein before your carbohydrates. Why? Because
Okay.
that's actually going to prevent that spike,
Okay.
right? Of, high glucose and then dumps of insulin. So protein and fiber first, and then your carbohydrates.
As in, like, you're eating a meal, protein, fiber, now my carbs. That's what you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like
in
I'm
one
eating my
sitting.
chicken. I'm eating my
Okay.
chicken. So like I'm going to upset all my Italians that are listening, because if you've ever been to an Italian meal, what we like to do is have the pasta first and then always end on the salad. I don't know why
Okay.
we do this. It's just something
Okay.
we do. But I've had to train my father over the years. Dad, have the salad first, have your chicken, and then
Okay.
you can have your pasta.
Okay.
Because just even doing that for myself over the last year, I was able to drop, and values are different in Canada and blood work, but I was able to drop my blood sugar from a 5.4 to a 4.4,
Wow.
which is
Just
huge.
doing that. Just
Yeah.
changing the way. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you take stress out of the equation as well.
Yeah.
But
Being done
that's,
with school helps.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But being able to really control that timing of eating has
Yeah.
drastically improved my energy, my mental clarity. And yeah, just kind of going back to your overall question, is that's like the biggest thing
Okay.
I tell my patients not to underestimate is that high protein and fiber and
Yeah.
fat.
Yeah, no, that's a great tip. And it's not like it takes a ton of work to do that.
Oh.
But yeah, I forget, someone online was showing, like, they were taking kind of live readings of their, glucose and all that. And they ate, protein in this and then a dessert, and they watched their blood sugar. And then, like, the next day they just ate the dessert, and it was like crazy, the difference.
Oh, it's drastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also you alluded to this in the beginning of that, but even like checking their gut health, and is this person absorbing the nutrients that we're giving to it? So you work with people's gut health, and can you talk about the importance of gut health?
Oh, for sure. This is a big topic. You can do like a whole hour podcast on this.
Yeah.
But
And how do people know, like, if they have a gut issue? Can it be silent? Is it IBS? Things like that.
Yeah, great question. You know what? It shows up differently for everybody. It can, show up as your standard symptoms, such as, maybe they have increased belching, maybe they have, increased bloating, distension. It's, a very common thing you hear is, the second I eat something, I'm bloated all day.
Yeah.
Or, like, again, like excess belching or flatulence, stuff like that are very, very common. So those kind of get my, mind going and trigger, like, okay, look at gut health.
Yeah.
But then you can also have the flip side of that. And I've had patients come in and they go, oh no, my gut health feels pretty good. But then they'll see things like, oh, they get rashes on their skin, or they have eczema, or they have rosacea, or they have increased acne. And a lot of the time that's your gut saying or sending signals like, hey, something's going on here, and I'm going to let you know one way or another.
Yeah.
Right. So kind of going to your original question is, I always lead back to the gut. If a patient's presenting to me, whether maybe it's, they have more brain fog, I always run blood work, right? Because you want to consider thyroid as well. But, if that seems all clear, something is telling me that something with the gut health is off. Because, right, especially with mood and mental clarity and bowel movements, if there is something off with the gut health, we start to see an array of symptoms, including, a drop in mood because over, 90% of your serotonin receptors are actually found in the gut.
Crazy.
You have part of your immune system in your gut.
Right.
So a lot of times people that go, I get sick all the time. That's your other
Mhm.
little tidbit of, hey,
Yeah.
look at the gut, right?
Mm.
So this is where you want to start to kind of clear up the inflammation. And I've learned
Mhm.
this from the doctor that I work with, Dr. Kenneth Groves here at my clinic, Inspire Health Niagara,
Okay.
is what you need to do is you need to calm the inflammation. You need
Mhm.
to repair the inflammation. Then you re-inoculate with good bacteria,
Okay.
and then you can maintain. So that's kind of the little like rule I always
Yeah.
follow.
What do you think wrecks someone's gut? Is it just poor eating, poor dieting? Like what gets them off track? I mean, from my experience, I'm not as, involved in practicing, with in this realm. But what I've understood and kind of studying the carnivore diet is that the pH should be pretty low, like quite acidic in the stomach and be able to, process food, digest it. But if we have high carb, just really poor diet, the stomach gets lazy, the pH is off, the microbiome's messed up, and then it can kind of take a couple months to turn things around. Is there some
Yeah.
truth to that?
Yeah, such a good question. It's a hard answer to give because we are exposed to very, toxic environments now, right? Like,
Mhm.
you go to Bath and Body Works and it's like, oh, I just want to get a nice candle and make my house smell like apple cinnamon. And then all of
Uh-huh.
a sudden you're right. And then all of a sudden you're releasing all
I've
these
heard.
endocrine disruptors. And
So that's
then,
true. Candles can be bad for your house. I forget where I
yeah,
read that online. They're like, "No, don't do candles." Not
I
just for
know,
the
right?
fire, but
But yeah, it's because of all the endocrine disruptors, or it's like, oh, like,
huh.
my skin's getting really dry. I'm going to put on this, again, this grapefruit moisturizer and smell like grapefruit for the day. But
Yeah.
then here it is, another endocrine disruptor. And then
Mm.
our shampoo, and we could go on and on and on. But, sometimes we also just have to be human and you got to buy what you got to buy and you have to do what you have
Sure.
to do. So with that, sometimes it's very difficult to combat all these environmental toxins.
Uh-huh.
So I always say, listen to your body, listen to the cues. You are human, and I get it. It's difficult to, how am I going to take out dairy? How am I going to take out gluten? My nonna's making pasta every Sunday, or, you know, um, I'm having pierogies at, my family's house this evening, blah, 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 blah,
Mhm.
blah. So I always say, listen to the cues. And sometimes it's a matter of cutting it out for a little bit, heal, like I said, calm the inflammation, heal the gut, and then you can bring those foods back.
Okay.
So, how do we get exposed to it? How do we know it's there? Sometimes it's always there, and sometimes
Mhm.
it's just treating it as it comes. And sometimes it's just giving yourself a little bit of grace and being human and saying, I'm going to eat this, and that's okay, because there's power, like I said, in calming that nervous system and saying, it's okay, I'm going to have this food today. And
Mhm.
maybe I got to take a digestive enzyme. But if you can sometimes give yourself that grace, it's actually part of the battle of just saying, I can heal while still eating these things that I enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, thanks for pointing out all the potential issues that can stem from your gut. You don't think immune system, gut, and do
For
you? I
sure.
mean, this is kind of a hot topic the last few years, but do you like intermittent fasting?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I know so many people go back and forth about this one. So
Yeah.
I think the big disclaimer and the reason why people go back and forth is because it's very dependent on the patient. And I say that because sometimes if someone is, maybe more prone to go into hypoglycemia, maybe let's not do a 12, 18-hour, 24-hour fast, right?
Mhm.
Maybe that's where you do incorporate smaller meals throughout your day. So again, my disclaimer, and I should say this, being a doctor is, always go to your care provider before you choose if you're going to do
Sure.
intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
I have, looked over my blood sugar for, some years now, and I respond quite well to intermittent fasting. I've been doing it for a very long time. I've
Mhm.
had my own issues with gut health, and intermittent fasting has changed the game for my gut. It's allowed my gut to kind of digest better, to, get the fuel I needed from the food better. It's really helped with my bloating.
Okay.
So I like to intermittent fast. So I don't stick to a very strict one,
Right.
right? I know some people will go like, oh, the typical 12 to 8, like 12
Yeah.
p.m. to 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sometimes I do that, but sometimes I don't, because
Yeah.
this is going back to like giving yourself that grace with food and
Mm-hmm.
finding where is it that you have to feed the body. Like if I wake up at, you know, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and I start my day, and by 11 o'clock, I'm hungry, I'm eating. That's my body
Mm-hmm.
saying, hey,
Yeah.
you fasted long enough, time to eat.
Yeah.
For example, today I haven't eaten yet and it's 2:30 my time.
Wow.
And yeah, but that's okay because my body just didn't need it yet.
Yeah.
And it needed the time to recover from what I ate yesterday.
Yeah.
It needed to digest it. And I'll eat probably around 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And that's it. But I love it. I find there's so many pros to it. But with,
Mm-hmm.
every good thing, there's always a con. So again, always refer back to your
Yeah.
practitioner.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same thing. I'll practice the same way. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. Kind of listen to my body. There's some days I wake up and I had a, maybe a more dense meal towards the end of the day, and I'm like, I don't want to. I already feel full at 8. I don't want a full big meal. I'm just going to skip my breakfast. But you can get used to just this breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks,
Mhm.
and it's like you just keep throwing all this at your body. It's like, do I really need to eat? Like when I first heard about it, I'm like, am I really hungry or am I just eating out of habit? And it helped with, weight loss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my gut felt better. When I did have a meal, it just felt like it processed cleaner, better.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, and I know there's some other maybe benefits from clearing out your stomach, clearing out what do they call them, like the telomeres at the end of your
Yeah.
chromosomes, or just kind of like it cleans up your body when you're not throwing a lot at it, which I've kind of been like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That helps. And I know there's some benefits with getting your body maybe into ketosis when there's not a lot of blood sugar or carbs thrown at it. So it seems like it could be good. Like you said, consult. Some people might not do well with it, but so there could be some benefits there.
Oh, yeah. My brother, he's actually a holistic practitioner that does muscle testing in New York State, right outside of Buffalo. It's called North Tonawanda.
Okay.
And I've learned a lot of my knowledge around fasting from him.
Uh-huh.
And the biggest thing he always talks about is how, like, I can't remember if it's around 18 hours or 24 hours, but once you've gone to that point, you actually start to initiate an increase in human growth hormone.
Hmm.
So, like, I know some people think, oh, if I don't eat, am I going to lose my gains? Am I going to lose this?
Yeah.
Actually, there's real proof and real evidence that with fasting, you actually encourage human growth hormone. So, as long as going back to the protein conversation,
Hmm.
you're eating 1 gram of protein per 1 pound of body weight,
Yeah.
you will find that fasting will actually quite literally benefit muscle recovery and muscle maintenance.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so awesome. Yeah.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Um, okay. What other big things do we want to talk about? We talked about some of the hormone issues that you deal with in your practice, some of the nutrition stuff. You also work with what I would kind of call everyday primary care sort of issues with, blood sugar, cholesterol, cardiovascular health. How can you and naturopathic doctors help out with the everyday stuff? Because someone might be listening like, well, I'm a mom, I have 3 kids, I'm married, like I'm not an athlete like she's talking about. I mean, do you see just kind of the everyday working person that has maybe an issue like that and it's maybe not getting the results or the attention it needs from their MD, and you can take them in and do a thorough analysis?
Thanks for asking that question, because I think sometimes people don't realize the care that a naturopathic doctor can give and how we can actually work like that primary caregiver.
Hmm.
So, I want to preface this answer by saying naturopathic doctors, how we see medicine is three-dimensionally. And this is why this is so important, because I'm talking to my moms, I'm talking to my blue collar gentlemen, my blue collar women, my white collars. When you look at health as being three-dimensional, this is how you can actually see the whole person. Because health, when we try to work on it, we need to understand, is this person working, 7 to 7? Are they working a 9 to 5? How is it that they're showing up every day? Do they have 3 kids? Do they work a 9 to 5 and then a 5 to 9? Like, what does their day look like? And I think it's so important to understand that as a practitioner, because when you can understand the patient as a whole, you are able to treat them in a way that allows them to be consistent, that allows them to actually present with that change that they are really looking for. So, for example, I might have, I'll give the example of a mom or a dad that's coming in and they're like, listen, I got soccer practice on Tuesdays. I got hockey practice on Wednesdays. I got basketball on Thursdays, and Friday and Saturday, if I'm lucky and not doing 7 different activities, I might have 5 minutes. Right? So
Yeah.
when you can understand that, right, then you're able to make that protocol. So like I said, I'm working with a mom or dad who has this schedule. What am I doing? How am I understanding it? Right away, I'm first asking them where in their day, or in, whether it's once a week or maybe it's 30 minutes every day, are we able to look at, maybe it's a calendar to be like, what am I eating that week? Are we able to even, make a weekly schedule of food? No, we can't do that. We do it on the fly. Okay, next option. What does a typical, dinner look like, or breakfast, or this and that? What do we have in the kitchen cupboards? So in other words, instead of going on this huge tangent, like I said, I want to understand their day and what that looks like. I'm not
Okay.
trying to cut out all these foods cold turkey,
Yeah.
but I'm saying, what can we maybe introduce? I think people get so nervous to go to a naturopath because they're like, they're going to take my coffee away. They're going to take my ice cream away. I
Right.
don't take away. I introduce. I
Okay.
bring new value. I'm not trying to take. I'm trying to give. I'm trying
Yeah.
to promote, because I want you to know that you can live the life you want, but I want you to know that you can live it grander. You can live it more powerful. You can live it stronger. So if you bear with me for a couple minutes, I'll get you
Yeah.
there and I'll let you know, hey, that blood sugar, we can control it. And guess what? I'm not going to take away food. I'm most likely going to add it, because the biggest issue I see, especially in women, is you're constantly cal deficit, take away, take away. How about we bring in more protein? How
Yeah.
about we bring in more fat? Hey, we're not scared of fat anymore. We're not
Right.
scared of butter. Throw out the
Yeah.
diesel, get the butter. We're
Yeah.
okay with it, okay?
Yeah.
So I always tell, people that I'm actually bringing in foods, but I want to bring in those foods that make you feel powerful, feel strong. So again, if I'm looking at cholesterol, and many Europeans fell victim to this, is the vegetable oil. Get rid of the vegetable oil, throw it out, bring in the olive oil, bring in your avocado oil, bring in your ghee butter. These are different things that once seem so scary are actually going to be that thing that can change your cholesterol drastically. Right. And again, like I said, I could go on and on about this, but there are so many little things that we can look from a diet perspective and then a supplement perspective. It's amazing, the products that some of these companies have, like Cytomatrix. They make an amazing supplement. And again, I'm not endorsed by them and this isn't medical advice, but a lot
Yeah.
of times I'll turn to their supplements that have red yeast extract. I'll
Mhm.
turn to many different plant sterols, because they've actually been found to help with lowering LDL and helping with
Right.
raise HDL.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah, which I mean, a lot of people don't realize not all cholesterol is bad. Our bodies need it,
yes,
right?
your
I mean,
bodies
that's
need it.
not
Your
my
hormones need it. Your hormones need
so
it.
there's actually good cholesterol, good oils, good fats that our bodies need to function.
Yes, exactly. And I think this will be my last little thing on that is, I think for so long, and unfortunately, the pharmaceutical industry did a really good job at tearing down fats, but luckily they've now revealed that it's not that we're scared of fats and we're not
Mhm.
scared of cholesterol. We need those things. We have to look at blood sugar and how many
Right.
times are you spiking your blood sugar throughout the day? Because a very quick physiology lesson, when you take in sugar, your body reads it as glucose. Glucose is
Mhm.
going 3 different areas. It's going to our muscle, it's going to our liver, and it's going to our adipose tissue, so our fat. When glucose goes to our fat and our liver, when it gets in excess, in other words, you can fill the cup all day long, but
Mhm.
once it starts to pour over, that sugar is actually going to turn into what's called a triglyceride. A triglyceride is one of the things that we test when we test our cholesterol panel. Why? Because eventually that triglyceride is going to get converted to LDL. LDL is fine until it gets oxidized. Why do we care about that? Oxidized LDL is then what gets converted into atherosclerosis. Wow,
Right.
that's say that
Hardening
10
of
times fast.
arteries and yeah,
Yes, the
I
plaque
gotcha.
in our arteries, right? And
Okay.
that is what's been related to heart disease, right? So again, what we're looking at is sugar. And when we're having that excess amount of
Mhm.
sugar and that true relation to heart disease.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks, Doc. And I mean, I'm going to ask this question from my experience with naturopaths down here in the States, but correct me if I'm wrong, that a lot of MDs or DOs down here are just so busy and they'll see, so many people. It's hard to really spend that quality time with them. And I find that, and there's nothing, I'm not against MDs or DOs. They're amazing, but they're
Mm,
just so busy sometimes to ask all these, follow-up questions or do like a 1 hour new patient exam. I find that a lot of the naturopaths here can spend a little more time, dig a little bit more. And like I had another doctor on here, she said it well. She's like, the mysteries in the history and asking
mhm.
questions. And sometimes it's boom, it's right in front of your eyes. And so, do you spend that quality time with your patients? And is it uncommon to spend 45 minutes with them on a new patient exam to tweeze out a lot of these things?
Yeah, that's so well said by the other doctor that the mystery is in the history. Because, like I said, that's how you can truly understand your patient when you take the time to get that three-dimensional,
Mhm.
you know, check of that patient. So, yeah, 100%. When you do an initial consultation with me, I actually
Mm.
offer 90 minutes.
90 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we're
You
working
really
together
get
for
to
about,
know them.
yeah,
Okay.
I do. Because, like you said, it's not us, pushing down these DOs or MDs. I have amazing friends that are MDs here in Canada and they're outstanding at their job. But like you said, the system, it doesn't allow them the time.
Yeah.
There's such a shortage. So
Mhm.
that's why we as NDs are, offering 60 to 90 minutes. We
Yeah, it's
take the
amazing.
time. Yeah, we go over the whole picture. We understand who they are. We get their family history. We get their medical history. And then most importantly, like I said, we try to understand who they are at their core, what their day looks like.
Mhm.
Even that mental aspect.
Yeah.
Yes, the biology, the physiology really matters, but I really want to understand the psychology of my patients,
Yeah.
because really, like I said, if you can understand that whole person, then you can treat the whole person.
That's actually in my notes here. The next topic and great segue was the mental health. I mean, I see a lot of your social media posts talking a lot about mindset, and how that can affect who you are and your actual physical health.
Oh yeah.
So, can you talk a little bit about that and where does that come from? Is it, something you just noticed practicing? Is it something you personally experience? Can you talk all things sort of mental health?
Yeah, for sure. That might be my favorite question.
Okay.
Kind of alluding back to your very first question, what got me into naturopathic medicine? I really had to work on the mental and
Yeah.
how to strengthen that, because when you are going through something where, food is always the thing you're talking about and it's taunting you, sometimes you beat down the mental. And I think when I started, to love food again, I also had to love me again. And I started to realize the importance of, mental health and having that connection to self. And
Mhm.
how is it that you're talking to yourself? And that starts from when you wake up right in the morning.
Mhm.
And I actually listened to this great podcast, Ed Milet. He's one of my favorite podcasters
Oh,
I
yeah.
listen to, and he had a guest on, and he said one of the first things he always does and make sure every day he does it is his routine when he brushes his teeth, and he starts his day by when he brushes his teeth, it's just taking that time to say good things about himself,
Mhm.
because you're starting that day off by saying, like, hey, I'm brushing my teeth for clean teeth because that matters. Hey, I'm brushing my hair because that matters. I actually had a patient the other day and I said to him, I want you, when you look in the mirror, I want you to say, I'm a boss. I'm a
Yeah.
beast. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't be afraid
Yeah.
to amp yourself up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like maybe your day started slow. I want you to find that second and you're going to say, no, I got this. All right.
Mhm.
I stumbled. Let's keep
Yeah.
going. I'm
Yep.
going to get better and I'm going to get better. And I want
Mhm.
you to say it even when you don't believe it, because
Mhm.
there is power in
Yeah.
sitting there and telling yourself, I can keep showing up. I can
Totally.
keep going. Because listen, I am not immune to not having bad days. I'll be
Yeah.
totally honest with you. Last week, I Monday and Tuesday, I like if I could have laid in bed all day, I think I would have. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Life can
Like
be tough.
it is it's no easy feat.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes you give yourself grace and you say, like when I was having that day, I could have been like, oh my God, Felicia, like, what are you doing, man?
Mhm.
But instead I said, you know what? I'm giving myself grace. My body must need this, and I'm going
Mhm.
to honor this. And then today, you know, I wake up, I went for a walk this morning, and you give yourself your sunlight. And it's just, how is it that you're talking here?
Mhm.
Because if that is negative, you better believe your body's going to show those
Yeah.
symptoms. You know, leading from Dr. Mate, who always talks about how the body hears and it'll show those symptoms.
Yeah.
So don't be like, you have, like, don't get me wrong. We're not, I'm not a perfect person. Sometimes maybe I say the rude thing to myself, but I
Sure.
always want you to be able to say, it's okay.
Uh-huh.
I got this. I'm going to keep going. I'm still a strong person. I'm a
Mhm.
beast. You know, like when I go to the gym and I'm doing a, you know, a squat or a shoulder press, like I'm telling myself, Felicia, you're a beast. You got this. You know, okay,
Yeah.
I failed the lift. I'm going down in weight. No problem. It's like, Felicia, I got this. You're
Mhm.
strong. You're powerful. You know, you can do this.
Yeah.
And like I said, I say it even when I don't believe it.
Mhm.
Because the day that I believe it, it's because I said it when I didn't believe it.
Mhm. Yeah. No, that's a great topic. I mean, I think it's one of those things that can kind of be swept under the rug. And if you're active on social media, which I know we both are, and you consume content, you can just think, am I the only crazy one here? Like everyone just seems like they're having the time of their life. Life's so great. Everything's so lovely. It's like most people aren't going to put a negative thing on there like, I just had a horrible day. I had a flat tire. I was late. This thing happened. That thing happened. I got in an argument with this person. And so, yeah, it's like every day you got to become prepared with your armor, and
Yes.
we talk a lot about that at our morning meetings with our staff. It's like, look, we're here to heal other people. We can't be down, and we got to lift them up. Like our quote of the day, we have a quote of a day, and it was attitudes are contagious. Make yours worth catching.
I love
And,
that.
so yeah, we talk a lot about that, like, the healing starts at the door when we're uplifting, encouraging, because you can kind of if you're in a bad mental state and then you get around positive people, it can kinda uplift you and, "Okay, I don't feel so bad anymore." And so but I agree with you, sometimes you gotta do that from within, sometimes you need an outside influence to help you out, but man, that mental side is I agree, it's so huge, and, I mean, there's a lot of conditions just with stress, like your digestion, your nervous system stress can just wreak havoc on it, and so, yeah, that's great that you really talk about it, with your patients and work through it, and it can kinda be a little taboo, probably, I don't know, maybe more with men, like, "Oh, I'm fine," and
Mhm.
then you find out there's some huge issue and it's like, "Hey, it's okay, we can talk about it," you know?
Absolutely. So well said. It's so true. Small wins create your momentum.
Mhm.
So I focus more on consistency over perfection
Mhm.
because, like you said, you know, sometimes a flat tire happens and okay, it can ruin that hour, ruin that, you know, moment. It doesn't have to ruin the whole week
Mhm.
because you can keep going
Right.
there. You don't have to win, you know, every single, you know, battle.
Mhm.
You're just aiming to win that war with yourself, and sometimes that just starts by brushing your teeth in the morning,
Yeah.
right? And
No,
and
I
one thing
agree.
I put on every morning is my coat of compassion. I wear this coat of compassion not only for you, for my patients, but for myself. Because like you said, I loved what you said, and what you say with all your staff is, how can you enter that room with your patient and be
Mhm.
able to give that positive energy, because that healing
Mhm.
starts as soon as they enter the door.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. I
Yeah.
love that you
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. Well, we're almost out of time, Doc. So I want to give you a couple more minutes just to wrap things up, and talk about anything that maybe we didn't hit on. I mean, I know we got into some great topics here, but is there anything that maybe you wanted to hit on that we didn't talk about, or anything, to promote your clinic there at Inspire Health?
Yeah, I am actually building a performance and recovery program for athletes in high performance. It
Okay.
blends lab testing, personalized nutrition, mindset coaching, um, and some like regenerative therapies through acupuncture, cupping, and any sort of like fascial massages and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's called Inspired Performance. It
Cool.
is going to be run by myself, and I'll be launching this program shortly. It's currently on our website on Inspire Health Niagara. So for
That's
those in
awesome.
Ontario that are interested, please reach out to me, whether it be DM on Instagram. You can reach me at lift2b, the number 2, the letter B, lifted, or you can just type up Dr. Felicia Scaringi, ND. You'll be able to find me. But yes, I'm releasing this program, and I'm really looking for athletes that are kind of looking to go to that next level, to help with their performance, to help with recovery, to get back into sport if they've been on injury, and really looking to kind of be their guide to really help, like I said, with nutrition, and we'll go over labs. So the goal is to kind of shift the conversation from sick care to
Mhm.
strategic and self leadership in my clinic. So
That's
that's really
awesome.
one big thing I'm really looking forward to.
That's awesome, Doc.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, it's too bad you weren't right here in the Portland metro, but for
I
any of
wish.
my fellow Canadians in that area, yeah, definitely follow her on social media, go to the website, and definitely will tag you in some of the content here, and we can share this podcast with others. So, yeah, thanks for taking the time to come on here. And thanks for sharing a wealth of knowledge. So I know your time is valuable, and I greatly appreciate all the insight you've given to our audience. So thank you for coming on. And yeah, maybe next year we'll see you at that conference in Vegas again.
Yeah. Well, it's been, like I said, absolutely my pleasure and an honor to be on here and talking to your audience. And though I am located in Ontario, and treating wise, I can only treat within Ontario. But for your listeners that might not be in Ontario, they're throughout Canada, North America, and beyond,
Uh-huh.
please, by all means, reach out to me on Instagram. I'm always available to, answer questions to the best of my ability, and just kind of be a source of knowledge where I can be. So
Yeah,
again,
that's great.
thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Absolutely. It's been fun. So, okay, Doc, well, enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. You too.
Uh huh.